And this one's fine, and I'm all out of coffee. In the figurative sense of that, the pot is empty, but not in the literal sense, because I do have beans or grounds, and I could make fresh, and I have water, and I have filters, and I have electricity, so I could make a new fresh pot of coffee. So I'm not literally out of coffee. Like, I gotta knock on my neighbor's door and ask if they got a pound of coffee. Like back in the Flintstones days, don't you remember that? Like people with neighbors would knock if they needed sugar, or like, do you have any eggs? Can I borrow some eggs? You can have all my eggs. I don't keep eggs in the house. And I don't keep them outdoors anymore either. I don't keep eggs at all. I'm not an egg keeper. It's just as well they're very expensive right now. So no, you can't. How dare you ask me for eggs, neighbor? Who you think you are? You're my neighbor? That's not a good enough reason now for me to be giving away these $5 eggs. Each of these eggs is $5. Easter's going to be very expensive this year. The Easter bunny is going to have to be charged for inflation. That's what's going to happen. Watch out, kids. You're going to get a lot of plastic eggs and not so many deviled eggs, which I'll tell you what, I hate deviled eggs. It's so gross. I have no problem with these eggs not getting deviled this year because it's too expensive to devil them, and you just get plastic eggs filled with candy. I'd much rather prefer that. Imagine this, you got a rubbery, it's like a mushroom in gooey, chewy, gross, bounce rubber back at you as you bite through it. But it has even worse flavor than a mushroom. It's just like a giant tofu. It's a rubbery chew that's gross, but then you get surprised by this sulfuric blast. It's like the hard-boiled egg that they whip up into that orange fart smell. I mean, what kind of a surprise is that? That's like you lick it to the center and you get that Tootsie Pop, but it's a fart instead. I never understood how people, and when you see somebody biting halfway into a deviled egg, all I can think about is that big, flabby, porcelain white rubber butt filled with a orange-yellow fart that's gonna cream all over your mouth. It's the most gross thing I can imagine, really. A hard-boiled egg, like a deviled egg, is the devil itself. If the devil was an egg, it would be a deviled egg. I mean, whoever named it was perfect. They probably hated it. They probably made it as a poison or some sort of a device to get back at somebody, because Mr. Devil or Egg himself is not, he knows. I don't know, people mistook it though. He was cursed because people loved it instead. He made it as a curse, and it cursed me. But like most people love that gross egg, rubbery. Do you want a week old mushroom that smells like a skunk's fart creaming in your mouth as you bite into it? And then don't kiss me with that mouth. Are you serious? Get out of here. Egg salad's the same thing. Egg salad is just a deviled egg, except for extra mayonnaise now. Are you serious? Has that mayonnaise been out in the sun for a week? I hope so. I certainly hope it's a graynaise. You know, I like my mayonnaise to look like kind of a clay gray color, like it looks like it's been bad for about a month. That's my mayonnaise. Are you serious? Mayonnaise is just the egg whites gone bad with oil. And that's all an egg salad is. It's the devil's egg added with the devil's juice, the mayonnaise. Put your mouth on that mouth, not with that egg salad mouth. I'm never gonna touch that mouth ever. And it's a tragedy, is what it is. Because an otherwise, nice situation has been ruined once again by the devil's egg. And I don't understand how he snaked that by everybody. The devil himself must have done it. It's just so gross. But yeah, I forget why I jumped on it. Just eggs. It's expensive this year. Easter's going to be expensive. So there's going to be a dearth, minimum, hopefully, a full dearth, a full minimum of deviled eggs and just hard-boiled eggs in general. And that's a blessing in disguise. Not much of a disguise, but it is, because most people actually are going to think that that's a curse. You know what? I mean, it's just a dead bird that didn't turn into a chicken. What are you eating? What do you think that yellow stuff is? Eating the farty remains of an unborn chick. Those cute little birds, you're eating that. You're loving it the way you're looking at it. Look at that. That's just, oh, God. Oh. So we need to talk about this no longer. We no longer need to talk about it. But something we do need to talk about is, what time is it? Is it 8 o'clock or 7:40? 8 o'clock. Sometimes my eyes get so bad I can't tell if that minute hand on that clock is just, I don't know, a second hand? I don't know what I would have thought it was. Like a line. That's how ridiculous it is. There's only going to be 3 lines on this clock I'm looking at. It's going to be an hour hand and a minute hand and a second hand. The second hand is really thin. I can't even really see it. But I can see some slight motion because it's always in motion. Well, it ticks over. It's not a continuous motion like a school clock. Remember those seconds? Hands and school clocks above the door, the clock, and it's always in motion. That's a mechanical watches. The second hand always is fluid. It doesn't tick by like, that's because it's a quartz. And it's a crystal, ticks by, it ticks, it jumps, it doesn't fluid. Anyway, that's what the second hand on this cheap clock does. But the minute hand is a little bit thicker, and the hour hand is shorter and thickest. And that one I can clearly see is pointing to the 8, the Roman numeral 8, which is even more annoying. But I know the positions. I know the positions of my clock, so I know it's 8 o'clock. It doesn't have to say 8 to me. But I don't know what I'm thinking about the minute hand. Look, is that somehow a crack in the glass, that vertical? Because it doesn't look like, it really does look like 7:40. You know, because the hour hand looks longer than it should be. So that's the minute hand. And then I can see a disc continuation as the hour hand that's on top of it doesn't quite line up with that long minute hand pointing directly into the 8. And so it's 7:40. But what's that not moving second hand at the top of the clock? That's not the second hand. It must be a crack. No, that's the minute hand, but I don't know why my mind doesn't go there. Because it looks like 7:40, not 8:03. But it is 8:03. And that's what I'm saying. My eyes, I don't get it. What a weird type of blindness that is. That's a logic blindness. My eyes trick my mind into making convoluted scenarios that don't make any sense. Yeah, that's obviously 8 o'clock. Why do you think it's... Because you can't see the minute hand? Because you all of a sudden think that the thing that could only be the minute hand is a previously unknown crack or dark mar on the surface of the clock, and that you're just guaranteed positive that the actual minute hand is pointed at the 8 and not at the 12. That's an absurd take. What kind of blindness is that? That's the kind of blindness that I have. I didn't just make that up. That's the truth. I have a weird way of seeing the world that's just... Sometimes it's like it's on the fritz. I see the world fine. It's not like the world is on the fritz. When I see the world is fine. That's what I mean. The world's not on the fritz. My seeing mechanisms are sometimes on the fritz, and I see things that aren't maybe there. But like, you really see with your mind, not your eyes, right? Because like your eyes just paint a picture to your brain, but your brain has the words, right? The words are coming from me. Not from my eyes anyway, from my mind, somehow. And so that's really what I see, is what I tell myself that I see, right? Isn't there something truth to that? So it's a blindness of mind, really, which makes sense because my ADHD is a mind disorder. I mean, it's a brain dysfunction, but it affects the mind because the brain affects the mind. Because the mind is really... It's how the brain uses itself to make a mind, maybe. A mind is like it's like a tool, really. It's not a thing.